Hi everyone, welcome into my social media video. If you're here, you are using social media. My point for this video will be from an influencer point of view. I do not like the word and most of you hate the word. I don't know why they picked that one, but I'm talking about people who earn money through social media, through Instagram, through YouTube, through TikTok. I am one of those. I used to be a model. I was a model for 6 years, full-time model. And then a year and a half ago, I switched to a digital career. So essentially, my main source of income is social media, more specifically through advertising on social media. There was a lot of stigma around earning money through social media, and although I did not invent advertising, I was encountering people who, you meet a group of people that you don't know, and everybody's like, oh, so what is it that you do in life? And I'm just like, oh, I work on Instagram, or I'm an influencer. Whenever I said I'm an influencer, suddenly they would completely shut down and I could feel the judgment. I even got into arguments regarding my job, and I thought, okay, there is something that I'm missing here because, how is it so debatable? And I'm never against debate. I love it, and I think it's important that we all sit down and discuss. Because of COVID, I cannot host a big talk show where we could, exchange on the matter, because I feel like this is really a conversation that should have, answers and questions, a real conversation. So on YouTube, it's a bit more like a monologue. But I have asked you questions over my Instagram to kind of see how I could provide more information on the job so that you can understand what we do a little bit more, and so that I can understand what's the problem and what's so bad about social media and influencers, because it raises a lot of negativity, yet we all use social media. So that's something that is super interesting. Anyway, so this video will be in two parts because there is too much to say in one part and I don't want this video to be an hour long. So I'm gonna start with answering your questions that you've asked me on my Instagram, tell you a little bit about what I think is useful on social media and how to use it properly in order maybe to realize that you have more power than you think. And in the second part, I'm going to go more in details about maybe my feelings towards the job and the backstage of it all. Because in all stories, there are two versions. You experience social media and being and seeing ads on your phone a different way that I experience social media on my side and, making the sponsored post. So all the questions were asked by you on Instagram, and I'm going to answer them very randomly, just how they come. Do you have a fixed salary as an influencer? No, I don't have a fixed salary. It's a little bit similar to my job as a model. We do not have a salary. We are paid whenever the client has paid, and it can take up to 90 days. That's the limit that they can pay us. When we sign a contract for sponsored posts, we agree on a fee, a rate for me. I'm signed with an agency, so they take a commission out of that. And whenever I've done the post that it's been approved and posted on my side, then I'm paid whenever they decide to pay my agency, and then I get the money. So basically, I've waited for sometimes 6 months and up to a year. I know it happens to some other colleagues of mine, they can wait up until a year so to be paid. It is very inconsistent. You have absolutely no vision into the next month in terms of budget and how much you're going to be paid. You know pretty much how much you've invoiced, but what comes into your bank account is impossible. It's impossible to anticipate. So for many things, this is not very comfortable. How to stay true to your beliefs when you promote things for money. So obviously, my job is to promote a brand. One thing I want to say, when talking about influencer, I feel like a lot of people mistake the job as in this majority for TV show people. And I think a lot of confusion comes from, you know, we've seen a lot of people like advertising like whitening toothpaste and products, because a lot of the remarks I was getting were along the lines of, you promote things that we don't know are working or not. I'm like, I'm promoting mainly fashion or even makeup. So, well, occasionally some cosmetics and I'm gonna go into details for that as well. If a brand doesn't fit my vibe or my aesthetic and what I want to promote, my team and I will just decline the offer, and it happens more than you think. What you see is pretty much what I would wear, because I do mainly fashion. Like I'm the most thing that I promote is fashion. So they sent me their lookbook and I pick an outfit that I like and I just post a picture with it. That's how it works. In all jobs, there is space to be fake. In all companies, there are ups and downs and things that you don't agree with, but you have to do it. It's easy to make your way through it. Do you think that it is a positive thing that strangers have an impact on today's kids and youth? I love that question. Kids have no business being on social media. You cannot be under 13 to subscribe to sign up onto Instagram. I'm not talking to kids. And most people, you know, have an audience that is similar to their age. So it is true, it is absolutely true that kids are on social media and that, you know, it can be harmful to them. But I personally am not responsible for your kids' behavior on social media. That's the parents' task, to talk to their kids about the dangers of internet as a whole, to monitor their time on social media, and to be like to accompany them through that experience on being alone and on an iPad or a phone on social media. Do I think that because it is not my job to educate your kids that it can be like the zoo and everybody is doing nonsense and it's you know, it's very harmful and with violent images and blah blah blah? No, obviously not. But I think social media should be a safe space. But what is safe to me will not be safe to a kid or to another adult. I'm 100% sure about that. Like, my limits are not the others. So that's why kids are not allowed on social media, because they don't have the willpower to know how to protect yourself. It's not even a willpower. I think it's more a lack of knowledge of, and also of boundaries. As an adult, when something is harmful to me on social media, I cut it off. I block the person, or I unfollow, or I try to go around that thing. There are, you know, here and there things that are bad for mental health, 1,000,000%. But whenever it happens, I know how to protect myself. A kid does not. That's the parent's job. At the same time, I don't think it is safer with that logic, to leave your kids watching TV on their own. I remember when I was a kid, I would sit behind the TV. First of all, there would be some TV, like cartoons, that would be traumatizing. When you watch them again as an adult, you're like, how did we leave the kids watch that? Anyway, take MTV, for example. How is this a good influence? How was it a good influence on kids, generally speaking? Your parents should be behind you to watch what you're doing. Do you know what I want to say is that it is unfair to, it is impossible to control social media to be a wonderland of peace and only good things. And again, perspectives. What is harmful to one might be absolutely neutral to me, etc. Or something that is completely offensive to me is not to the next person. So it is not to the other person to accommodate me unless it is harassment. But then again, you can block, and it's it's an educational thing as much as I blame harassment on social media 100%. But again, it's not the social media that made harassment possible, it's the person, and it comes down to education again. These talks you should have with your kids when they're young and forever. The respect of others, how to talk to others, all of that. This is not something that the social media have made possible. It was in us and now it's widespread, but you have to protect yourself, you have to protect your kids. We have to educate people not to harass other people or to be violent and mean and all of that. How did you become an influencer? As I said in the beginning, I was a model, and my Instagram, I was taking care of my Instagram, but I was not, I didn't care that much. I was just posting things that I really liked. And then it started growing, and to the point where an agency, a digital agency, noticed me and they signed me. Since then, I've been working mostly on Instagram because with COVID, modeling was a bit slower. So, but I'm really happy with the way I work now because I have more control over my body, my voice, what I choose to do. This has been a positive change in my life. Have you feel judged for not having a real job? Please define job. I work, I pay my tax. What's not real about this? It's again a question of perspective, because when I was a model, although I was getting it less than being an influencer now, I was getting that remark a little bit less. But still, some people would say, oh, but when are you gonna get a real job? I think if you think that a job should be about suffering, working long hours, something being tough, it is in a way. There are a lot of very, very hard things to handle when working on social media. And I can hear some people laughing from here and being like, oh my God, tell us about how hard it is to work on Instagram. I'm gonna tell you how hard it is. Most people could not handle the amount of criticism that I get every day. Even though I do not force anybody to follow me in any way. I do not force anybody to buy the things that I promote from time to time. It is not easy. It's not just a magical word of I'm pretty and this is all that it takes. It's absolutely not. We are evolving towards a digital society. Whether you like it or not, if you ask me, I don't think that it's as of now, I would say that yeah, there are a lot of harmful things, and maybe it's not the best for us humans, but it is inevitable. Of course, since we spend more time on our phones, advertising finds its way to your phone. What's a real job? It makes no sense. I work, I pay my tax, it makes me live. What's not real about it? But I think I do understand it's people have a problem with the cult of the self. And yes, there is a huge downside of working with your image, is that you sell yourself. And yeah, narcissism, I do agree with that. There is but cults existed before social media. I think your problem with social media is the human nature as a whole, and good luck changing that. But what's great about it is that you can absolutely avoid it by not following anybody that works on Instagram, or by not using social media. So I think everybody can be happy. Are brands pushing for certain content, or do they want to approve the content? Yes, brands can be very pushy with what they want, and that's the thing that I'm battling with every day of my life, and my agent knows that. Some brands are very easy, and they're just like, okay, wear what you want, post what you want, we're happy with it. But there are some brands who come up with a brief, and they want to put words in your mouth, and that's when they just want to use you as an advertisement billboard with little to no respect of who you are as a person, what you try to convey. Some brands are like that. And the tricky thing is that once you've signed a contract, then they can become very, very pushy, and you know that's not and it's hard to avoid once you've signed. I've canceled jobs after signing because they wanted things from me that were not me, and I didn't feel comfortable with. So yeah, it can happen that brands did not understand our job and the purpose of social media. Is influencing just a branch of advertising now? Do influencers pay or use the product that they promote? So again, use of products suggests that you are referring to cosmetics. We do not pay for a product that we're advertising. Everything is sent to us. It's in the deal. We are paid for the promotion of a piece of clothes, product, whatever, but we don't pay for it. And do we use the products? Well, I'm wearing most of the things that because I chose them. For example, when it comes to fashion, because that's what I do mostly, I wear the things that I was sent to promote very often. Do we use the products? Yes. For anything that is makeup or cosmetics, skincare, hair care, I personally try to use the products before, just so I know what I'm talking about, because my job is to promote the product. So if I don't know what I'm promoting, that's a bit dumb. But it's not because some people have no consideration for their community that everybody is. I agree that there are people like that, but again, unfollow them. You can see, you can feel when somebody is genuinely into what they do, when there's when they're coherent with what they do on the long run. Use your own judgment and use your intuition. If you want to follow influencers, which you are not forced to, what do you follow them for? Do you follow them for inspiration, style inspiration, or then you can, you know, not everything an influencer is wearing will be to your liking. So it's as ever, it's never, we never force anybody. But yes, do we pay? No. And do we use products? Yes, as much as we can. Again, it's not everybody. I'm talking about my experience. I'm sad because all that I was reading was, I don't trust them, they're trying to lie to me. But was TV any truer? Are magazines more honest. And I'm even gonna say something. You have more chances to find somebody that is honest on social media than reading through a magazine or watching TV all day long. Because when you follow somebody on social media, they have an audience and they target somebody specifically, a profile. There are so many influencers that you can find somebody that fits your vibe and what you like in life and can promote things that you will generally like or agree with. There's so many kinds. You cannot say influencers are bad and lying. No, our job is to curate something. It's not just sponsored posts anyway. It's funny to see the picture in either black or white, because that is gray right here. We're in a gray zone of living life. You're talking to humans. Contrary to TV and magazines, you are experiencing an advertisement through a real person that can even talk to you. So if I were to choose between ads through social media, which are targeted for me with the algorithm and all, and a general ad on TV that is not any truer, or do you prefer to keep your life private? I personally like to keep my private life secret or just private. I know that it's the way of many others. They work by being absolutely transparent with what they do. You can follow when they have a partner, when they break up, when they go through something hard. And to each their own. I feel like there's also a lot of voyeurism, it's a French word. Voyeurism, how do you pronounce that in English? Most people love to see what's going on in somebody else's life. That's why TV shows exist. Keep in mind that it's never real. There's a lot of staged things and things they can control, and there's a narrative. It's all about perspective. You can talk about something that has happened to you and it's really not how it really went. But again, it's the same thing in real life. When you talk to some friends or acquaintances, they can exaggerate things, they can lie about certain things, they can only show the good sides of their life. It's the same on social media. And personally, I don't like to show my, for example, I'm really open with talking about therapy. It's something that, mental health is something that I'm really open with, but I've never really shared anything. Like, you cannot say that's what happened to that person. You cannot write my story. Not yet. Maybe someday I would be comfortable with sharing more intimate things. I'm not as of now. So you don't know what's going on. Stuff has happened and it has left me the way I am, and I'm trying to talk about that more in details, etc., etc. But you can never know, and that's my limit. Some people can be very toxic whenever they have access to your private life, and you never know who you're talking to. So for safety reasons, yes, I think it's better to keep certain things private. But who can we blame? I don't think that talking about your life and your private life is bad, because I don't care what others are doing. But they wouldn't do it without an audience. They wouldn't do it without people watching their stories and be like, oh my God, she broke up with her partner. Oh my God, no, this has happened. It's a TV show. You cannot blame the actors. When the Kardashians started their adventure, they knew they had the response to it. They just surfed the wave that came at them, but they never forced anybody to watch their show. And many of us would say, oh, for some reason I just love to see what they're up to, even though I know it's not true, or I just love to see, it's interesting, I'm curious. It's human nature. It's human nature to want to be entertained, and it's human nature to entertain. That's it for your questions. Now I want to say a little something about your use of social media and what it is really. So on my Instagram, again, I did a little game of polls, and you could just, vote for the thing that you think was true. So for example, I asked questions like, do you think social media is harmful? Most of you said yes. Would you be happier without social media? Yes, 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 yes. Next question was, okay, then what are you doing here? And it was funny because a lot of you were like, oh, you caught me. To that question, what I got in return was, it's a habit, it's an addiction. All of my friends are on social media. I don't want to miss out. FOMO, etc., etc. And this I agree with. I'm with you. I think if tomorrow this wasn't my job anymore, I would still be using social media for the same reasons that you described, and most of us are feeling that way. But we tend to forget that even though our generation is very digital and we organize groups and communities around the same values and ideas, creating little groups, humans want to belong. So when you're not part of something that is generally popular, such as social media, you feel like you miss out and that you're not part of the group anymore. Hence the need and the addiction and the habit to do what the others are doing. That doesn't mean that it is you are powerless, and I don't think it is very fair to see the thing as either black or white. It's not either good or bad to throw away. And anyway, you would not, I mean, some people live a very happy life without social media, and people my age, it's just about how comfortable you feel with just having no social media. I know a lot of people who work great without social media, who don't even use Instagram, who just, communicate with friends through texts, WhatsApp, Messenger. You're not cut out from the world. You think you would be, but if you hate it, if it's not for you, don't do it. Because your reality is as you create it. And all of this to say that if you feel constantly bad about yourself, if you say that social media is ruining your self-esteem and that you compare yourself constantly, you see beautiful people and that makes you feel bad about yourself, etc., etc., it's the same for me as well. Don't get me wrong. I think there's so many people who display their bodies, their job, their thing. It's normal to compare yourself and it's normal to feel bad, but that doesn't mean that it's the end game. You can unfollow those people and you can send out a different message. When we say that your reality is your thoughts and your thoughts create your reality. So if you think positive thoughts, your world will be more positive, but if you see everything negatively, then everything will be painful. It's the same with social media, with the help of this little guy that we call algorithm. Your behavior is constantly being scanned and analyzed by these apps. If you're really into interior design, and you spend time looking at interior design things, pictures and account, and you follow designers and you nourish your daily life with designs, art, things like that, then your whole reality will be just this world. If you have no interest watching girls in bikini on the beach in Tulum or wherever, you won't see them, because your behavior influences, you're your own influencer. It influences what you see. On my Instagram as well, I ask you to send me your Explorer page, because your Explorer page is the core of that analysis that Instagram has made for you based on your behavior, you and yourself only. So the people you follow, the pictures you like, how much time you spend watching certain things. And so your Explorer page is just a summary of that. And I'm gonna add some examples over here, and you will see that your reality is very different. I have a lot of psychology posts, therapists, I have a lot of astrology, I have a lot of style as well because it's my job and I spend a lot of time doing this. Some of them have no one, no human, no face, no women, no influencer, no ads. They have either animals or art or design, and that's what they see on the daily. So there is no one coming into their world, in their house, telling them, look at my body, it's prettier than yours, look at my job, it's better than yours, look at this, it's better than yours. They do not have this type of violent speech fed to them because their behavior does not allow that. By changing how you spend your time on social media, how mindful you are about your actions, which are being monitored, that's how it works, you can have access to something less violent to you. You have to seize that power that is yours and make your experience on social media happier for you. I loved exchanging on this matter. It was so inspirational for me as well. So when talking about influencers, let's see, I've written down some of the words. How would you describe an influencer? And I'm gonna do like a positive and negative. So let's see. I had inspiration, cringy, resellers, strangers, that can be both, time consuming, brave, shitty, narcissist, self-centered, fake, insecure, informative, positive impact, and confident booster and confident crusher. So you have people who experience being on social media positively and those who feel so bad about it constantly and it's shitty, they feel insecure, or we are insecure, which is true. Second part, confidence crusher, etc., etc. So it is wrong to say that social media is a certain way. Hearing some of you saying that you were inspired by the people you were following, that they were, they were having a positive impact on how you want to live your life, the changes you want to make, it was a motivation for many things. It was a confidence booster for you to see maybe people who you relate to succeed in life. Maybe you feel that there is a place for you as well in this world, or you feel like you've got a friend in a stranger, or a big sister, things like that. It's not always bad. What I want to say is that if you still want to spend time on social media, let's say for you being off social media, because to me, if you suffer from it, that would be the only solution. Delete it. But if you say, I cannot, blah, blah, I'm addicted, there are things to do. Take the people you follow, take that list. And when you go on their page, what is the first feeling you have? Do you feel empowered or do you feel intimidated? Do you feel like they do better than you and that makes you feel bad about yourself? Or do you feel like they inspire you, they have a vision that is helpful to you in your daily life? What is the general feeling? If there's any cloud, mute and follow. It's great that we have those options. Use them. Mute and follow. Cleanse it. We're coming into spring. It's time for a spring cleanse. Take your Instagram and fill it with things that make you feel happy. If it's seeing cute animals all day long, oh my God, do it. I've met a lot of great people online and therapists, certified therapists, because there's also something I want to say about that, the spiritual movement that can be a bit bad as well. Maybe I could do a video about it. But anyway, there are some certified therapists that help me on the daily, understand myself better, understand why I act this way. It's been great to deal with anxiety, with my anxiety. You know, it's been helpful. There is a helpful side of social media and there is a harmful side. Choose the helpful side. There was a question also that I asked over on my Instagram, and it was like, do you think you control what you see? And most of you have answered no. It is false. It is untrue. Because, and again, look at the Explorer pages that I showed you. We don't have the same reality. The goal of these apps and of the internet in general is to sell you, even though you can still have apps that won't make you buy anything. Even though we live in a capitalist society, I'm afraid unless you delete and you lose the phone, you will be sold stuff. If you're okay with being sold stuff, at least you can be, it's not even sold stuff because nobody forces you, but you can find a community, a group, a circle, or just a little side of the internet that fits you. And you will maybe find great things to incorporate in your daily life. And if you don't want to buy anything, you can absolutely never buy stuff. Then for the narcissist side of, or side effects of social media, even though it's not really a side effect because you don't become a narcissist because of social media. You are a narcissist or you have tendencies, you need validation. I'm not gonna lie, take it from me, I'm somebody that seeks validation. I need to feel like I have an impact and a positive one. I have to feel like I'm doing something helpful for me. It makes me feel happy when you find help and positive things in what I do. To be happy, you need to be loved and feel appreciated and being proud of yourself and having, you know, feeling that pride back from parents, community. You need to feel validated, that you need to belong, you need to fit in, maybe to some different degree, depending on how you were brought up, the things you've lived earlier on. It can also stem a lot from trauma. There is no influencer without the followers. We have absolutely no power even to sell the tiniest thing without the numbers. So if you hate influencers or people who benefit from social media, unfollow them. Don't give them engagement. Don't give them credit. Don't be there. And they will lose all their power. It's as simple as that. And at the same time, regarding the narcissist thing, all we see is selfies and people, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna take an example. Disclaimer, it's not to blame anybody. I think there are behaviors that we would benefit from studying from the side of a spectator and the side of an actor. So influencers, influencee, I don't know. Let's find a better word. We'll find a better word. When I post a video of, I don't know, like the tea that I make, the little potions that I talk about, and I get what, like 3,000 to 5,000 likes, and it's a lot. But whenever I post a picture of my face, it can go up to 60,000 likes. If you want to see other content, if you want to see something more wholesome, landscapes or potions, you know, if you want to see less faces, put your engagement on less faces. Whenever I post something like a potion and I see it's not reaching the same engagement, I'm like, oh, maybe they don't want to see that. Maybe I should do less of that because obviously it's not of interest. And that's how I react. But I know that some people would feel very bad with the lack of engagement on other posts. And that's also a reality. Yes, I could post just what I want, and I do. I mean, when I post a picture of Paris with a baguette, that's also what I want to post. But I can see, you know, I'm never posting stuff just for other people. I post stuff that I enjoy, but I'm gonna, of course, prioritize the content that has the best engagement. You would do the same. Demand, offer. We have an addiction to dopamine. Dopamine is, I think, the main hormone that is developed or produced by somebody that uses social media, because when I see that a post is working well, dopamine, reward hormone. I feel rewarded for doing such a great job because I feel validated by you. So my brain is like, oh, we love that feeling of validation. Let's have more. And if I listen to, yeah, but also I want to post something that I like more, maybe something more spiritual, maybe something more about potions and stuff. Yeah, but I will lack the dopamine. So it takes a lot of willpower to you know, having a steady mind to say like, I don't care, I can, you know, I need to post something more wholesome, etc., etc. Very few people can have this strength to go against that dopamine kick. I think I'm gonna stop here for this video. Please feel free to ask me any more questions for that part 2. That will be more about my experience with social media, because I think here my aim was to remind you that you have power to make your social media a place that is less harmful and less violent. These are little tricks to just remind you that all of this is because of our behavior. And since we cannot change human nature, we cannot change the dopamine effect, we cannot change the need to be validated. If it wasn't on Instagram, it would be in the streets. We all know in a group of people somebody that is more of a narcissist and that is very toxic. And with that, we put boundaries. We take distance. Do the same thing on social media. If you think that all bodies are the same, find, oh my God, so many people with, you've got all the body representation. Maybe less, maybe I do agree. I cannot change, I'm white and I'm a model, so I say this all the time. I am not a model of inclusivity, but I want you to know that there are people who will represent you and that you can relate to. If it's a problem, again, if it's a problem, if you want to feel more represented, there are other people who are all about body positivity and real body positivity, not me doing body positivity, for example. Not the skinny white girl saying you should accept yourself the way you are. Please, come on. Like, I know my limits also on that point, but there are other people who do it great and that need your engagement. And if you engage more with them, if you follow only those people, then again, it will maybe give the confidence to more people to be who they are freely, truly, and it will change slowly like this. Your money on social media is your engagement. Just the same way you would buy something in a supermarket and send out a message to the brands and companies, you do the same on social media. All of that to say, please tell me what you think about social media. Did you think that you have that much power? Do you think that you can make your experience on social media a little bit less harmful to you? Would you ever consider leaving social media because it's suffocating in there, which I completely understand? Do you think that we go towards an all digitalized society, or do you think that there is a way back to how we were? You know, let's talk about it. I think it doesn't serve anybody to hate on one thing without discussing it. All right, guys, I'll see you in the part 2 of this video, and in the meantime, bisous.